Hi everyone, my name is Zoe and welcome to our video tutorial. Today we'll be looking at some of the financial reports you may need to use if you run on an accrual accounting basis. We'll also be taking a look at some of the areas within the NewBook system that you must set up correctly to ensure that your financial reports reflect the correct information. When it comes to accrual accounting, we're not looking at how much actual money we may have received in our bank account. Instead, we use the NewBook system to run our earned revenue report, which will display all charges and credits that may have been raised or voided within that current reporting period. Therefore, from that report, you can see exactly how much tax you owe on the revenue that you've earned in that particular date range. Before we get into our earned revenue report, I would like to go through some of the main areas of NewBook that must be set up correctly in order for your earned revenue report to display the correct financial information. The first area we'll be having a look at is our general ledger accounts. Using our menu search in the top left, we're going to search and locate our GL accounts list. When I click into here, it's going to take me to a full list of existing GL accounts that have already been set up within the system. A GL account is a particular code that is used to identify different types of revenue within your system. As an example, we can see I've got a GL code here with a description of powered site. This would indicate to me that I've created this GL account in NewBook so that I can assign it to my category of accommodation, which is called powered sites. And when I make a booking, NewBook will then know to raise the charges for the rates or the tariffs under that particular general ledger account. If we have a look above that, we also have one here for F&B, so food and beverage. That way I can assign this general ledger account to inventory items that I may charge for, such as breakfast, lunch and dinner, where I want to split out that revenue was specifically for food and beverage and it wasn't for accommodation. It's entirely up to you how far you'd like to break them down. Some clients like to be quite specific and split every different style of accommodation out, and others like to group them together. If you're unsure of how you would like to report on this, we definitely recommend that you speak with your accountant to get some further information. We recommend that you head to your GL account list and cross-check that all the codes and descriptions have been entered and set up correctly. If there are any missing, you can then use the Add General Ledger Account button at the top to enter the code and description of the GL account that is not in the system. All you then need to do is select Save. Once the GL accounts are cross-checked and are 100% correct, we then need to ensure that they are set within the correct areas of NewBook. Using our menu search in the top left, we're going to search and locate our categories. These are our existing styles of accommodation that we already have set up in the system. You'll see I have a list of the names of accommodation below, and on the right there is a column that says GL account. You'll notice that each category of accommodation has its own GL account set within it. That's because when I make bookings for these different styles of accommodation, I would like to split out the revenue so that at the end of the month or end of the year or even at the end of the day, I can see exactly how much revenue I've made for each of those styles of accommodation. If you do notice that there is a particular category that has an incorrect GL account set within it, you are able to update this. All you need to do is click on the name of the category, select Edit Category in the top bar, and then head down to the Billing Setup tab where you'll be able to adjust the drop-down option within the GL account area. Once you've made your correction, you can then select Save and that will update your category. Please note, it is so important that these are set correctly within your categories, because if they are not, it means that the system will start generating billing or charges under the incorrect GL accounts. Therefore, your financial reports are not going to be reflecting the correct information. If we click on the categories button, it's going to take us back to the view of the existing categories that have been set up. And if we're 100% certain that these are now set correctly, we can head into our next area that we need to cross-check, which is called our inventory items. Using our menu search in the top left, we're going to search and open our inventory items list. Once this page is loaded, it's going to display an existing list of extra items that we may charge or bill for within the system. Within each of these inventory items is a general ledger account. This is where we can preset different GL accounts for different types of charges. As an example, I've got some for refundable bonds within here, which means when I raise a charge in a booking, it's going to reflect that the revenue is sitting under this general ledger account. If I were to book a 30-minute relaxation massage, it's going to put the revenue under my guest activities GL account. It's important that you head into your inventory item list and cross-check each item to ensure each general ledger account is set correctly. Again, if these are not set up correctly, it means that your revenue is not going to be reflected correctly in your financial reports. If you notice that one of these needs to be updated, such as my breakage charges, we can see it's sitting under the incorrect area. I can click on the inventory item, select Edit Inventory Item in the top bar, and within our Inventory Item Details tab on the right, I can update the GL account by clicking into the drop down and searching for the correct one. Once I've located it, I can select it. If I also need to update the sub-client account, I'm able to do so from here and then simply press save. As I've now updated this inventory item to reflect the correct general ledger account, if I were to add this particular charge onto a booking, it's now going to raise it under the correct area for my revenue. I would like to mention that if any of these have been set up incorrectly, it means that any charges that you've already raised in the system will be generated under the incorrect general ledger account. However, any new charges moving forward will be at the correct one. If you have any concerns about this or you would like this updated within the system, please do not hesitate to reach out to our support team and we'll be able to provide you with the options available. If we head back to our inventory items list and we can 100% confirm that every item within here is set against the correct general ledger account, we're essentially able to start reporting in the system. Before we get into the financial reports, I would like to show you a booking that has got charges raised within it so that I can show you exactly how a charge is displayed on a client account and where the GL account is listed within that charge. Then when we get to the financial reports, it should make a little bit more sense as to where all of that data is coming from. Here we have a booking for Tom Ferguson, who is due to check in today. He's staying until the 29th, and over on the right we can see he's unconfirmed, indicating he hasn't made any payments, and directly below we can see the red payment box advising of his overall outstanding balance. When we move underneath, we can then see the booking client account associated with this particular booking and the actual charges that are raised within there. When this booking was made, you'll see in the top right they've been selected to stay in the luxury villa category. Therefore, when these quoted tariffs or rates have had their charges generated within the booking client account, they've known to raise them under the general ledger account within that category. If we'd like to see what those are, we can actually click into the booking client account. Once the client account loads, we'll be able to head into the client account ledger below, which actually displays the individual charges that have been raised for each night they're staying under the particular rate or tariff that they've booked. If we would like to, we can also click into each charge, which shows us the view of that charge. It indicates whether it's been paid or not. And underneath in our charge details, it gives us information such as the actual client account it's been raised within, a description of it, the amount that has been charged for that night, and even our tax amount within that charge. On the right is where it's indicating the sub-client account it's raised within, and then also the general ledger account that it's raised the revenue under. If we head back to view the client account, I would also like to point out that within these charges, they have a column here listed for the actual date. What I would like you to notice is that each charge is dated for the actual night that they will be staying. This means that for each night that we see here, there is an individual charge that has been raised. This particular one is for $250. Therefore, we know that it's raised a $250 charge against my luxury villa GL account. This means that if this was the only booking that I had check-in for tonight and I had nobody else in house, the only revenue I'll be earning today is that $250 amount for my luxury villa GL account. Regardless of whether the guest is paid, I need to now pay tax on that within the next reporting period because the date has actually now occurred. If we head back to view the booking, I would like to show you how we were able to add an extra charge within Tom's stay. This could be for anything such as breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So selecting the Edit Booking button in the top bar, we can then scroll down to the Inventory Item box. Once we've clicked into here, on the right, we're going to use the Add Inventory Item option. Once the pop-up appears, I can then use the inventory item search to locate my breakfast item. Once I select the correct one, you'll notice it pre-fills the sub-client account as food and beverage, and it also ensures that the general ledger account for the revenue is reflecting food and beverage also. When I save this and then save the booking, it will display our success message, and it also updates our booking billing section where you'll see directly underneath the quoted tariffs or rates are our additional items such as our continental daily breakfast. It's added an additional $180 onto the booking. We can see the overall balance is now updated, and directly underneath within the booking client account we can clearly see those charges that have been raised for the food and beverage items. The great thing about that is that NewBook has now generated the billing for those particular items, and it's raised them under a different GL account. Therefore, when I run my financial reports, I'm going to see exactly how much money I've earned for my accommodation under the luxury villa, and also what I've earned towards my food and beverage. I would like to click into the booking client account here to take a further look at the charges that have just generated. You'll be able to see quite clearly the new continental daily breakfast charges, each of which have generated an individual charge for each day that they're being billed for it. The best thing about that is that they're correctly dated as well. So my revenue report, when I run it, is going to show me exactly how much I'm earning on those specific days. Before we head into the earned revenue report next, I would like to take us into our instance settings to locate a setting called Generate Billing for all bookings by default. Using our menu search in the top left, we're going to search and locate our instance settings. Once we've clicked into here and the page has loaded, we can then use the search bar at the top to locate our specific setting. We're going to enter in Generate Billing, which will then refine our results. The setting we're after today is the Generate Billing for bookings and groups by default, yes or no. If you work under an accrual accounting basis, it does not matter whether this setting is on yes or no. However, in this particular instance, as it is on yes, it means that if I were to place a booking in the system today that's staying next year, when I save the booking, you will actually be able to see the charges generated already within the actual booking client account. Please note they will still be dated for the future and will not incorrectly reflect on your earned revenue report today. They'll show correctly on the date that they're actually being earned for. When you have it on no, it simply means if you make a booking in the system today that's staying next year, when you save the booking, the charges within it will not raise until you actually change the status of it to arrived. That's when NewBook will then generate the charges, and they will be dated for the nights of their stay. As we've now had a look at the main areas in NewBook that need to be set up correctly in order for your financial reports to display correctly, and I've also gone through and showed you a booking and the billing that generates the charges, I would like to take us into our earned revenue report to have a look at exactly what information displays on that to record your financial earnings over a particular date range. The Earned Revenue Report is designed to show us a list of all charges and credits that have been raised and voided within the date range that we're reporting on. These charges that may raise or void can be in relation to quoted rates or tariffs that generate against bookings within that date range, or repeat charges, and even inventory item charges. If we do happen to see credits within this report, it's most likely referring to travel agent commissions that have been created or booking discounts. Using our menu search in the top left, we're going to search and locate our Earned Revenue Report. Once we've clicked into here and the report has loaded, we'll simply be loading the data for today. So we're going to leave it on the day of the 22nd of April and simply run the report. Once that's loaded, if we do happen to see a list of general ledger accounts here, it's indicating that we have had some charges or credits raised or voided within this current day. The first column we have here is our studio apartment GL account, and then you'll notice the next one along is called charges raised. This is indicating to me that our studio apartments have had $260 worth of charges raised against that GL account today. Therefore, that is my earnings for that particular type of GL account. If we have a look underneath, we then have our other GL accounts. I'd like to point out our luxury villa, which is displaying $910. If we'd like to see a list of the charges that were raised under that general ledger account, we can simply double click on this value here. A pop-up box will then appear, and you'll notice directly below it shows us a list of the charges that were raised. It shows us the client account they were raised within, a description of the actual charge itself, and then the charge ID. On the right, it also shows us the value of each individual charge and whether or not there is any tax incorporated within those charges. If I simply close out of this list, we can now have a look at some of the other columns within this report. The next one we have is called charges voided. This is only going to display information if there are charges within the specific general ledger account that have been voided. This could be due to a cancellation or even a staff member manually voiding an item from a client account. As the Earned Revenue Report is an accrual accounting report, it's designed to be run for historical dates and also dates up until your current day. You do not need to use it to look forward into the future because those items haven't occurred yet. Therefore, they may change. You may have amendments be made on bookings or cancellations, and you don't need to pay tax on those until the date of the actual charges. Therefore, the voided charges section is only really going to display voids that affect your current day or any days that have previously been and gone. At the bottom of the report, we'll then have grand totals for each specific column. Then on the right-hand side, we have two columns here that display the grand totals of overall earned revenue for each GL account, inclusive of tax, and then also an exclusive tax column here. The last option we have at the end is then displaying the actual tax amount per GL account. You'll then have your grand total at the bottom. As we're only looking at the Earned Revenue Report for the 22nd of April, it's only showing us information relating to today's date, so anything that affects the 22nd of April. As there's no charges voided, we can see that the charges raised column match the earned revenue column here. If our booking for Tom Ferguson happened to now cancel and he no longer wants to stay tonight, when I cancel that booking, this report will update. To show you exactly what that looks like within the Earned Revenue Report, we are going to go in and cancel his booking. So using our global search in the top left, I'm going to locate Tom's booking ID. And once our global search has located that booking here, we can click directly into it. As it's still confirmed, we can see it's still active. Therefore, we have our rates or tariffs still active, our extra charges, and we can see them generated on the actual client account below. If we go up to the update button and cancel his actual booking, it will then update the status, and what it does is it crosses out or voids the charges that were once generated for his nightly rates or tariffs. It also voids any inventory items within that booking, and you can now see there's a $0 balance outstanding and his client account is balanced as well. If we click into the booking client account, we'll be able to see that the client account ledger has 0 items within it, indicating everything that once was raised has now been voided. If we would like to see the voided charges, you can always have a look within your client account settings by using the advanced button and then changing the show voided items option to yes and reloading the page. It will then reload to display all items that were once raised on the account that have been voided in a red color. As we've successfully cancelled this booking, I'd like to head back into my menu search and reopen our Earned Revenue Report for the current day. So simply running the report, it's going to reload our GL accounts, and you'll be able to see quite clearly there has been an adjustment within our Luxury Villa GL account. The charges raised column remains the same because we did initially raise the charges for Tom's booking, and he was initially going to stay the night of the 22nd, so it did raise that nightly charge. However, since we've cancelled it, the charges voided column is now displaying the charge that has been removed or voided from the client account. If we double click in here, we'll be able to see the actual charge itself that has been removed. Once we close this off, I would like to point out on the right hand side that our totals have now recalculated. It's looking at the initial charges that were generated. It's then reducing the amount by $250 to give us our new earned revenue for that particular GL account on that particular day, and it's also recalculated our tax correctly. That's why it's so important that we display the charges voided, so it does correctly recalculate all of your earnings in the system, and it also ensures that you don't overpay any taxes. If you do have any further questions regarding the Earned Revenue Report or would like some further clarification, please do not hesitate to reach out to our support team and we'll be able to provide you with some further information. The next report I'll be showing you is our GST audit report, or for those of you who are in different regions, you may refer to it as a tax audit report, a VAT audit report. It depends on the kind of tax that you have within your particular business. Using our menu search in the top left, I'm going to search and locate my GST audit report. Once I click into here and the report has loaded, all I need to do is run the report. The GST audit report is essentially looking at the exact same information as your earned revenue report. Therefore, if you do run them for the exact same days, they will have an exact matching total at the bottom. It's simply loading our GL account totals for the day. And on the right hand side, you'll notice there are specific columns relating to your taxes within these particular GL accounts. So this report really provides you with further in-depth information regarding the tax within those GL accounts. Instead of showing you all of the charges raised and voided and credits raised and credits voided, it's really summarizing all of your tax information. It's a great one to use in conjunction with the Earned Revenue Report and provides you with a great tax summary. That brings us to the end of our video tutorial today on accrual accounting. I hope you've learned some handy tips and tricks, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video tutorial.